Look at this sweet newlywed couple. But who would have guessed the husband, Tachai, is gay? They were both forced into this marriage. The younger brother could only watch helplessly as the woman he loved became his brother's wife. After the wedding, Tachai never touched his wife because he's not attracted to women. It makes you wonder what could have caused a man who supposedly liked women to change. Yesterday, Tachai bought a watch that his boyfriend loved, wanting to surprise him. When Tachai arrived at his boyfriend's place, he witnessed a truly awful scene. Knowing his boyfriend had betrayed him, Tachai lost the will to live and wanted to end his life. Luckily, his younger brother showed up just in time, preventing Tachai from going through with it. But just then, their mother arrived and said it was good that he and his boyfriend had broken up, that it gave him another chance. She told him to focus on girls now, try being with a girl, get married, have kids, and live a happy life. But Tachai told his mother that was impossible. He couldn't like girls. Then, angrily, he turned and left. Their mother was at a loss, saying would she ever get to have grandchildren? The family line couldn't end with Tachai's generation. You might be wondering, doesn't she have another son? Actually, that son is adopted, not her biological child. The next day, Tachai was buying bubble tea when he ran into a beautiful woman, Gina. He felt a little flutter in his chest, but he had no idea this beautiful woman would later become his wife. He wondered if Gina could somehow change his sexuality, make him straight. Tachai went up and started talking to her. During their conversation, he realized Gina was actually his childhood friend. They chatted happily, and Tachai's mother happened to see them. She had always been worried about Tachai being gay and not liking girls, even arguing with him about it. This was the first time she'd seen her son talking so cheerfully with a woman. When Tachai got home, his mother asked him who the girl was. He told her it was a childhood friend and that he felt very comfortable talking with her. Suddenly, an idea sparked in his mother's mind. She wanted Gina to marry her son to continue their family line and keep their name alive. Tachai's mother went to find Gina's mother, who worked at a foot massage parlor. She offered Gina's mother 100 million and asked for her daughter to marry her son and bear children for their family. Gina's mother's eyes lifted up at the sight of money, and she quickly agreed. As soon as she got home, Gina's mother told her about the offer, urging her to marry a rich man and give birth to a chubby baby boy for them. In return, they would receive 100 million, escaping their life of poverty and living comfortably ever after. Gina was shocked and refused, accusing her mother of selling her off. She angrily ran out. Her mother chased after her, begging her to marry into the rich family, and finally revealed the truth. They were deeply in debt, with no way to repay it on their own. Gina sat on the ground, helplessly agreeing to her mother's unreasonable demand. Tachai sought out Gina and apologized, saying he'd just learned about the arrangement. Gina asked him why her? Why not find someone prettier or richer to marry? Tachai had no choice but to confess that he was gay. Gina was stunned. He explained that he wanted a child to fulfill his mother's wish for a grandchild. He told Gina that she was a good person, and it would be good to have someone like her as the child's mother. Though he couldn't love her romantically, he promised to treat her well. Touched by Tachai's sincerity, Gina agreed to marry him. Soon after, they held a lavish wedding ceremony, walking down the aisle with everyone's blessings. Standing in the audience, Tachai's younger brother was shocked to discover that the woman his brother was marrying was the very woman he was in love with. What a tangled mess. Would Tachai's brother try to steal the bride? After the wedding, Sam confronted Gina, asking why she had abandoned him and now married his brother. Wanting him to move on completely, Gina lied, saying she married Tachai for the money, then turned and left. Sam stood there, heartbroken, tears streaming down his face. While Tachai and Gina were taking photos, an uninvited guest appeared, Tachai's ex-boyfriend. Tachai was surprised to see him. The ex pretended to be a friend of the groom, offering his congratulations. He hugged Tachai, confessing he had originally intended to disrupt the wedding, but didn't want to see Tachai hurt, so he decided to let them be. Then he turned and walked away. On their wedding night, Tachai admitted to Gina that he was gay and couldn't be attracted to women. To his surprise, Gina wasn't shocked at all. She said she already knew he wasn't interested in women. Her mother, desperate for the 100 million, had insisted she marry Tachai, leaving Gina with no choice but to obey. Meanwhile, Sam snuck outside Tachai and Gina's door. He didn't believe his brother had suddenly become straight. Pressing his ear against the door, he listened for any sounds. He heard a voice from inside say, It hurts so much, just a little longer, it's almost over. Could you be gentler? Growing increasingly upset, Sam turned to leave. As he walked down the stairs, he heard a voice from inside say, "That feels so good." He missed a step and tumbled down the stairs. Hearing the commotion, Tachai and Gina rushed downstairs to see if he was injured and took him to the hospital. The doctor asked Sam if he had fallen down the stairs on purpose, aiming to prevent his brother and his wife from consummating their marriage. Sam didn't know how to respond. His goal had been achieved. The doctor informed the family that Sam needed to stay in the hospital for observation for a few days. Tachai decided to stay and care for his brother. Just then, their mother called, reminding them that it was Tachai and Gina's wedding night. She urged them to come home quickly. Tachai said he couldn't. He had to stay at the hospital with his brother. He hung up on his mother and helped Gina into the car. Sam asked Tachai if he had ruined their special night, explaining that he had heard sounds coming from their room. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. Tachai had been giving Gina a foot massage, which is what Sam had heard. Sam was embarrassed. At this point, Tachai was still unaware of the relationship between his brother and his wife, Gina. How would things play out between the three of them? Sam believed Gina had abandoned him and married his brother for money. He vowed to get revenge. After the wedding, Sam made things difficult for Gina. He told her it was a shame she didn't get to sleep with his brother last night, implying that she must be disappointed. Gina, unexpectedly, replied that there would be plenty of time for that in the future, infuriating Sam. He pulled out a wad of cash and asked if it was enough to buy one night with her, then threw it at her feet. The money scattered across the floor. Sam ordered Gina to pick it up, saying it would be hers. He intended to humiliate her. Gina calmly picked up the money, slammed it on the table, told Sam it wasn't enough, and walked away. It turned out that the previous evening, after attending his brother's wedding, Sam had returned home exhausted. He couldn't believe his brother had suddenly become straight, nor could he believe his longtime girlfriend had betrayed him. He suspected there was a secret behind it all. The next day, Tachai and Gina went to the hospital together. They wanted to try artificial insemination to get Gina pregnant. Since Tachai was gay and couldn't have a sexual relationship with his wife, but his mother desperately wanted a grandchild, they came up with this plan. The doctor said they needed to check both of their health first. If the results showed they were both in good health, they could proceed with the artificial insemination. Tachai told Gina that although he couldn't love her romantically and couldn't have a normal married life with her, he would treat her very well, cherish her like a precious jewel. They hugged. A moment later, Gina was playfully splashing around in the pool with Sam, her brother-in-law. Just then, a maid appeared, and a startled Gina quickly pushed Sam underwater. The following day, Tachai's mother came to talk to Gina, asking her to have a sexual relationship with her other son, Sam. She told Gina to use Sam's healthy body to have a child, leaving Gina utterly stunned. It turned out that a few days earlier, Tachai and Gina had been informed by the doctor that Tachai's testosterone and prolactin levels were problematic, and his chances of conceiving were low. Tachai asked the doctor what could be done. The doctor reassured him, saying that with consistent exercise and attention to nutrition, there was still a chance. Tachai's mother was devastated when she heard her son was infertile. She jumped up, lamenting that she wouldn't have a grandchild, and that their vast fortune needed an heir. She was so desperate for a grandchild that she asked Gina to betray her husband and sleep with her other son. Gina reluctantly agreed. Sam overheard their entire conversation. Overjoyed by this unexpected turn of events, he excitedly invited his friends to a bar, bragging that he was about to sleep with his brother's wife. He was ecstatic. Sam's friends brought him home completely drunk. As soon as he arrived, he lunged at Gina. Just as he was about to kiss her, he passed out, his head falling onto her chest. Muttering to himself, he asked why she had married his brother, confessing how much he loved her. Sam held Gina close, and they spent a blissful night together. Meanwhile, Gina's husband, Tachai, was sleeping soundly in his bed, completely oblivious. Had he seen them, he would have been furious. It turned out Gina still loved Sam. Tachai woke up to find Gina wasn't beside him. He sat up and called her name, but there was no answer. He didn't know that his wife was sleeping in his brother's arms. Hearing Tachai's voice, Gina quickly pushed Sam away and slowly got up, calling out that she was downstairs. Tachai came down to find his brother lying on the floor. He asked Gina what happened. She said Sam had gotten too drunk and passed out. Together, they struggled to carry Sam to his bed. Before leaving, Gina looked back longingly at her former love. The next day, Tachai and Sam sat in the park, talking. Tachai, watching a couple being affectionate, commented on how easy it seemed for other men, but it was not the same for him. Sam reassured him, saying there was no rush. He asked Tachai how things were going with Gina. Tachai replied that they were comfortable together, and he was happy. That evening at dinner, their mother declared that most couples who couldn't conceive simply weren't trying hard enough. She explained that for men who were frequently intimate, the amount of low-quality sperm decreased while the amount of high-quality sperm increased. She urged Tachai and Gina to be more intimate to increase their chances of pregnancy. Tachai stood up awkwardly and turned away, embarrassed. After dinner, Tachai's mother took Gina to the mall to buy her some seductive lingerie. Gina shyly protested that it was too revealing. Her mother-in-law dismissed her concerns, saying the important thing was to arouse Tachai's interest. Back in her room, Gina put on the lingerie her mother-in-law had chosen. She sat nervously on the bed waiting for Tachai. When he finally arrived, would she be able to conceive? Slowly, she took off her robe, preparing for their baby-making endeavor. Just then, Gina heard a knock at the door and assumed it was her husband. She rushed to open it, only to find her brother-in-law, Sam, standing there. She quickly backed away, scrambling to put her robe back on to cover herself. Sam questioned her provocative attire, asking if it was meant for his brother. He pushed Gina onto the bed. Seeing her resistance, he angrily stood up and left. As he walked out, he ran into his mother. She asked why he was leaving so quickly, reminding him that it was his turn if his brother couldn't perform. Sam, flustered, turned and left without a word. Tachai arrived home from work and saw Gina in her revealing lingerie. He asked why she was dressed like that, wondering if his mother had pressured her. Gina immediately burst into tears, clinging to Tachai, and said that she had been pressured, but she knew he was gay and didn't want to force him to do anything. Tachai gently brought her a bowl of warm water, soaked a cloth, and wiped her tears, telling her to use a warm compress so her eyes wouldn't swell. He wanted to try to have a normal married life with her, but realized he couldn't. He apologized to Gina and left the room. Once in the bathroom, Tachai locked the door and cried, picturing his ex-boyfriend while he had been intimate with his wife. He still couldn't forget his ex. The next day, Tachai seemed to want to say something to Gina, but hesitated. They looked at each other, understanding what was left unsaid. At that moment, a basket of nails fell from above. Seeing it about to hit Gina, Sam rushed forward and shielded her with his body. Tachai watched, stunned. He ran over and asked Gina if she was hurt, and she reassured him she was fine. How would the relationship between the three of them develop now? Early the next morning, Gina woke up and prepared breakfast for her husband and brother-in-law. What a capable wife! She finished cooking quickly. While Gina was baking, Sam suddenly approached and turned the oven temperature to its highest setting. Gina asked what he was doing, saying the food would burn. Sam replied that he liked it burnt. As they argued over the knob, the baked goods suddenly started smoking and popped up. Startled, Gina instinctively hugged Sam. Tachai's mother witnessed this scene through the window and began to suspect something was going on between them. Tachai's mother went to the maid and asked if she had noticed anything unusual between Sam and Gina. The maid asked if she thought they were having an affair. Tachai's mother told her to keep her voice down, saying it was just a suspicion. The maid replied that Gina always seemed to avoid Sam, appearing to dislike him. Tachai's mother instructed the maid to keep a close eye on them, believing it was better to be safe than sorry. Meanwhile, Sam's ex-boyfriend had found a new love interest, a wealthy woman. It turned out he was bisexual. He bought his new girlfriend a beautiful bouquet of roses and asked her if she knew how much he loved her. She replied that as long as he stayed with her, she would give him all the money he could ever want. This was probably the dream of many struggling young men. That evening, Tachai and Sam sat on the sofa, talking. Tachai told Sam that he had noticed Gina following Sam around earlier that day and wondered if she was attracted to him. Sam nervously denied it, telling Tachai not to be ridiculous. Tachai said that if Sam truly loved Gina, he would step aside and let them be together. He knew he couldn't give Gina what she wanted. The next day, Sam took Gina for a drive. She thought they were going for a leisurely outing, but Sam drove her to a deserted road. He grabbed her arm and asked if she still loved him. Gina said she couldn't love him because she was now his sister-in-law. Their relationship was over. Sam hugged her tightly from behind, saying that even though he knew they couldn't be together, he just wanted to see her every day. He truly loved her. Sam's love was that humble. If you were Gina, would you choose a passionless life with Tachai, or a fulfilling one with Sam? Sam finally confessed his love for Gina, but it was too late. They had missed their chance. Their love story ended with a goodbye kiss. Tachai's mother visited Gina and reminded her of her position in the family, instructing her to paint a picture as a birthday gift for Tachai's grandmother. Gina immediately started working on it, while Sam watched her from afar, still unable to forget her. When Gina fell asleep, Sam snuck in and tidied up her art supplies. He sat across from her, wanting to hold her hand, but seeing her wedding ring, he gave up on the idea. He took out his phone to take a picture of her, but Gina suddenly woke up. Sam pretended he was just passing by and quickly left. Gina, noticing her organized supplies and watching Sam's retreating figure, felt a mix of emotions. When Sam got home, his mother was waiting for him. She scolded him for crossing the line and reminded him of his position. She told him that Risa had invited him to dinner on Saturday and that he should get back together with her. Sam questioned why she was now pushing him towards Risa when she hadn't approved of her before. His mother wanted him to focus on someone else, anyone other than his brother's wife. She then explicitly told him to delete Gina's picture. Sam reluctantly deleted the photo in front of his mother. The next day, Sam went on a date with his ex-girlfriend, Risa, accompanied by his mother. Before he left, Gina gave him some homemade cookies and urged him to go quickly so Risa wouldn't wait. Watching the car drive away, Gina breathed a sigh of relief, but a sense of loss soon followed. During the date, with the help of Sam's mother, Risa asked Sam to get back together. Looking at his ex-girlfriend, Sam remembered Gina's words, urging him to go to Risa and not keep her waiting. After hesitating, he finally agreed. Later, they quickly ended up in bed together. In the heat of the moment, as they were making love, Sam officially got back together with his ex-girlfriend. To solidify their relationship, Risa seductively removed her dress, hoping to capture Sam's heart. Unexpectedly, Sam stopped her, went outside to drink, and resolved to let go of everything. However, he still couldn't forget Gina. Sam returned home drunk. Gina, mistaking him for a burglar, attacked him. When she realized it was Sam, she asked if he was hurt. He said he was in pain, and they both knew that the physical pain was nothing compared to the ache in their hearts. Watching Sam leave, Gina asked why he wasn't staying with his girlfriend and why he had come back. He admitted he couldn't bring himself to stay with Risa. Sam moved closer to Gina, and they gazed into each other's eyes. Suddenly, they heard Tachai's voice from upstairs. They quickly looked away, pretending nothing was happening. Their acting was good enough to fool Tachai, but not his mother. As soon as Sam left, his mother confronted Gina, warning her to stay in her place and not cross any lines. She told Gina to fulfill her duties and do what was expected of her. She pressed Gina, asking if it was because of Sam that she didn't want to have a child with Tachai. She demanded that Gina get pregnant with Tachai quickly. Finally, the grandmother's birthday party arrived. Sam and Risa arrived hand in hand. Gina watched them, heartbroken and frozen in place. Sam, upon seeing Gina, exaggerated his affection for Risa, looking down at their clasped hands. Both Gina and Sam were hurting, but they pretended otherwise, each trying to wound the other. Tachai's older sister presented the painting Gina had made as a gift for their grandmother. The grandmother was delighted. Tachai's aunt's family also brought a gift, urging their grandmother to open it immediately. Inside was an ultrasound picture of Tachai's cousin's unborn baby. Tachai's mother was furious. She glared at Tachai and Gina, annoyed that they hadn't given her a grandchild yet. Tachai's cousin even chided him, teasing that he wasn't as potent as him. Seeing his brother being humiliated, Sam stepped in and said a few words that shut his cousin up. Risa, still feeling that Sam wasn't fully invested in their relationship, went to Gina and asked her if Sam had someone else he liked. Gina, thinking her relationship with Sam had been exposed, froze. Just as she was about to respond, Sam arrived, but the secret was about to come out. That evening, everyone was watching a performance, but Gina wasn't there. Sam, naturally, wasn't interested in watching without her. He snuck into the kitchen and comforted Gina, telling her not to take his cousin's words to heart. Distracted by Sam's concern, Gina accidentally cut her hand. Sam, panicked, took her to treat the wound. Looking at this caring man, Gina seemed to forget their past agreement. Meanwhile, Risa, unable to find Sam, went looking for him. Although Gina was drawn to Sam's warmth, she excused herself and left to avoid trouble. However, Risa saw her leaving and immediately followed, asking where Sam was. A moment later, Sam emerged, and Risa saw him heading in the same direction Gina had gone. She called out to him. Sam, afraid of being discovered, made an excuse and went with Risa. During the party, Chun, Tachai's cousin, played a video of Gina's father drunk, revealing that Gina had been urged by Sam's family to marry Tachai in exchange for money to pay off their debts. He also revealed that they were promised an additional $5 million if Gina and Tachai had a child. Everyone started gossiping, and Gina was immediately labeled as someone who sold herself for money. Tachai's grandmother's face darkened, and Chun continued to fan the flames. Unable to stand it any longer, Sam stepped forward and punched Chun. The grandmother yelled for them to stop, and angrily went back inside. Tachai and Gina rushed to explain, admitting that they had helped Gina's father with his debts, but insisting that they had known each other previously and were truly in love. They didn't want to deceive the grandmother. Tachai's aunt chimed in, asking if the marriage was indeed a transaction, and why they were trying to make it sound like a love story. Unexpectedly, the grandmother declared that her husband's will didn't prohibit arranged marriages, as long as there was an heir. Tachai's aunt and her family's efforts had been in vain. The commotion seemed to be over. However, Sam was still furious. Hearing Chun insult Gina, he punched him again, yelling, "Are you afraid everyone will find out the truth? That my sister-in-law is a gold digger?" He confronted Chun, asking why he was dragging Gina into his issues with him and Tachai, and why he insisted on hurting her. But Sam didn't realize that his protective actions towards Gina had aroused Risa's suspicions about their relationship. Meanwhile, Tachai's aunt, having gained nothing from the situation, started an argument with Tachai's mom. When words failed, she resorted to violence. Seeing the two women fighting, Tachai's aunt's daughter-in-law tried to intervene. During the struggle, a tragic accident occurred. The doctor informed Chun that his wife had lost the baby. Both mother and son were devastated. Yada's family also arrived at the hospital. Warang, seeing Yada, was furious. Without a word, she slapped Yada. Chun, grieving the loss of his child and remembering his grandmother's favor towards Tachai, falsely accused Yada of causing his wife's miscarriage. Gina, having witnessed everything, spoke up to defend her mother-in-law. Enraged, Chun pointed a gun at Gina, accusing her of siding with Yada because she was a gold digger. Seeing Gina being insulted, Sam flew into a rage and punched Chun. The two men began to argue fiercely. Witnessing Sam's fierce defense of Gina, Risa grew even more suspicious. She was convinced they were hiding something. Later, she brought up Gina in conversation with Sam, asking why he had lied to her about Gina and Tachai's relationship. Sam explained that it was the story their mother had told everyone, but that Risa wasn't just anyone. He expressed sympathy for Gina, saying she was a good person and didn't deserve any of this. Sam thought he was hiding his feelings well, but his behavior only confirmed Risa's suspicions. She then devised a devious plan. She remembered that Sam had once bought a bracelet. To uncover the truth, she went to the jewelry store and bought an identical one. Then, she used the pretense of wanting to learn how to bake to visit Gina. To prove that Gina was the woman Sam loved, Risa threw the bracelet on the floor while Gina wasn't looking, hoping she would recognize it. However, despite several attempts, Gina didn't notice. Risa, unable to contain herself any longer, was about to point it out when Yada arrived and returned the bracelet to Gina. "Oh, is this yours, Gina? I found it on the floor. It looks just like the one you have. Isn't it?" "Not mine." Gina was interrupted by Yada. "No one else in this family has a bracelet like this. You should put it away." Gina reluctantly put the bracelet away, while Risa felt her suspicions were confirmed. Gina went to her room and took out the bracelet Sam had given her. She noticed that the two bracelets were identical and wondered who the other one belonged to. Just then, Risa appeared at her door and revealed that the other bracelet was hers. She said, "You're good. I've been looking for this for a long time. So, who is Sam's woman?" "It's you, isn't it?" Gina tried to explain that it was a misunderstanding, but Risa didn't believe her, accusing Gina of being manipulative, not only marrying the rich older brother, but also becoming the younger brother's lover. Gina insisted that they only had a sister-in-law and brother-in-law relationship. Suddenly having leverage over Gina, Risa threatened to tell Tachai everything. Gina panicked, begging Risa to keep quiet. Risa then laid out her conditions, warning Gina to stay away from Sam and help her win him back, or face the consequences. But Gina didn't know that the real disaster was yet to come. Chun, disregarding his wife, Weidi's feelings, forced her to play with building blocks, seeing her merely as a tool to bear children. Weidi, once a pampered young lady, thought she had found true happiness, but instead, she was living a miserable life. Despite their frequent intimacy, she hadn't gotten pregnant, and as a result, she was abused by her monstrous husband. After the morning's events, Weidi lost all hope in her marriage. She decided to pack her bags and escape this hellhole. However, she hadn't gotten far when she ran into Sarut. Afraid of being taken back, she quickly turned to leave, but Sarut stopped her. He was the one who cared about her, not Chun. He knew what Chun had done to her because he had been there and had been beaten too. She asked him why he was still so patient. Weidi didn't understand. If he pitied her, then he should let her go, she begged him. Sarut immediately ran after Weidi. Without a word, he pulled her back. Weidi thought she had no escape, but in the next moment, Sarut transformed into a warm and caring man. He told her that no matter where she went, he would follow. Then, he took her luggage and gently placed her helmet on her head. Feeling an overwhelming sense of warmth, Weidi hugged Sarut tightly, ready for a new life. Sarut took her to a hotel for a temporary stay. Weidi couldn't hold back her emotions any longer. She confessed, "What I want every day isn't a handbag, luxury goods, or clothes. I just want him to treat me well." Sarut hugged her tightly, promising to protect her for the rest of his life. Seeing Weidi crying, Sarut couldn't control his feelings. He tenderly kissed her. Time seemed to stop at that moment, as if the world consisted only of the two of them. Meanwhile, Chun, not finding Weidi, called Sarut and ordered him to find her immediately. Sarut had just arrived at the hotel when he received a call from his boss. After a barrage of insults, Chun threatened Sarut, saying he was finished if he didn't find Weidi. Weidi, watching from the stairs, saw Sarut's predicament and silently made a decision. Sarut, realizing he had left his phone at the hotel, returned to retrieve it, only to learn that Weidi had just checked out. Worried, he rushed out to find her. But Weidi, not wanting to put Sarut in a difficult position, deliberately avoided him. Finally, Sarut caught up to her, but she stubbornly refused to listen. Sarut, taking charge, embraced her and kissed her. He pleaded, "Don't run away from me anymore, I beg you." He confessed that if Chun found out he had helped her, he would be in serious trouble, but he was willing to risk everything for her. Sarut's words melted Weidi's heart. She didn't want to lose him. They shared a passionate moment, and then did something we all know. Unaware of what had just transpired, Sam went to see Gina as usual, ready to tease the woman he loved. To his surprise, Gina deliberately avoided him, refusing to talk. Thinking his mother had given her a hard time, Sam asked if she was okay. Gina coldly rejected his concern and walked away, leaving Sam standing there, bewildered. Meanwhile, Tachai's company was looking for a celebrity to film a commercial. His ex-boyfriend, Chen, jumped at the opportunity and even flirted with Tachai during their photo shoot. Seeing this, Sam became furious and confronted Chen in the restroom, threatening him. Unfortunately, Chen, being a famous star, wasn't intimidated by Sam. Yada, after learning about this, scolded Tachai and demanded that he cancel the contract with Chen and stay away from him. Tachai, naturally, didn't want to break up with Chen. After arguing with his mother, he stormed off. Seeing his mother distraught, Sam comforted her. To alleviate some of the pressure on Tachai, Gina decided to go on a honeymoon with him and invited Sam and Risa along, hoping to give them a chance to reconnect. They all arrived at the resort. However, seeing Sam and Risa happily chatting, Gina felt disappointed, realizing she wouldn't have much opportunity to be alone with Sam. Risa deliberately called Gina over, wanting to flaunt her relationship with Sam. To make matters worse, she asked Gina to take pictures of them, repeatedly complaining that the photos were bad and asking Gina to retake them. Then, she went even further. While Gina was taking a photo, Risa pulled Sam in for a kiss. Seeing this, Gina lost control, forgetting to take the picture. Sam quickly said they should stop taking photos, but Risa persisted, continuing to kiss him. Gina had no choice but to endure it and take the picture. But even that wasn't enough. In the kitchen, Risa continued to torment Gina, insulting her with harsh words. But Gina, to protect Tachai, endured it patiently. Risa, feeling this wasn't enough, continued her subtle insults during dinner. She commented on how Gina wasn't a picky eater and would eat anything, then, despite everyone's presence, kissed Sam. Gina, unable to stomach it any longer, decided to leave. Just then, she accidentally injured herself. Sam and Tachai rushed to her side, concerned. Seeing everyone's attention on Gina, Risa became incredibly jealous. While Gina wasn't looking, she grabbed Gina's hair and started insulting her, accusing her of trying to seduce men. Finally, Gina snapped back. If you were me, you'd ask yourself why the man you're chasing isn't interested in you. Risa resorted to threatening Gina, using her secret as leverage. Just as they were glaring at each other, Sam arrived, immediately sensing the tension between them. He said, "I got the medicine." Gina replied curtly, "Thanks." Worried about Gina, Sam followed her to her room, but she was still upset. She closed the curtains, shutting him out. However, Sam had a key and let himself in. "Get out," she cried. "I told you to get out." He asked, "Why are you crying?" Gina finally broke down, confessing that she couldn't forget him and that she was still angry and jealous because of him. Sam blamed himself, admitting that it was his fault for not trying harder and causing her pain. Gina corrected him, saying it wasn't pain but heartache. They gazed at each other, longing in their eyes. At that moment, it seemed only a kiss could comfort their aching hearts. Gina knew they couldn't be together, and so did Sam, but he wanted to cherish every moment with her. He asked, "Can we just sit here like this for a while?" wishing time would slow down. Just as they were basking in the beautiful scenery, a knock came at the door, and Sam had to leave. That night, Risa tried to initiate intimacy with Sam, but he coldly rejected her. Furious, she blamed Gina for everything. The next day, she angrily confronted Gina, continuing her insults. She demanded to know what Gina had done to seduce Sam, claiming he wouldn't touch her. Gina retorted that Risa lacked appeal and shouldn't blame others. Sam's lack of interest in her had nothing to do with Gina. Infuriated, Gina lost her patience and fought back. The commotion attracted everyone's attention, and Sam quickly pulled Risa away. Risa knew that Sam had originally bought the bracelet for Gina and that he still loved her, which is why he didn't want to be with Risa. Completely losing control, she slapped Sam. She was the most pathetic character, even getting back together with her ex, but never truly winning his heart. In a fit of rage, she decided to tell Tachai about Sam and Gina's secret. Tachai was stunned by the revelation, unsure how to face his wife and brother. Sam and Gina were still unaware that their secret had been exposed, and Tachai couldn't bring himself to believe it. To prove their innocence, he suggested they go cycling together. Along the way, Tachai intentionally lagged behind to give Sam and Gina some alone time. However, they started arguing about Risa. Sam insisted he would never go back to her, but Gina reminded him that even so, they couldn't be together. At this point, they could only embrace briefly, not hold hands for a lifetime. Tachai witnessed this embrace and was heartbroken. The two people he loved most had betrayed him. Heartbroken, Tachai decided to seek solace with his ex-boyfriend. He hesitated at the door, but finally rang the bell. When his ex opened the door, there was no one there. Tachai had chosen to walk away. Gina, seeing her husband finally home, breathed a sigh of relief. But Tachai wasn't his usual warm self. He coldly went upstairs, bumping into Sam on the way. Sam asked, "What's up? Need any help?" Tachai replied sadly, "No need to bother. I've been tired my whole life." As night fell, Tachai lay awake, heartbroken, tears silently streaming down his face. The next day, Sam and Gina met to discuss Tachai's unusual behavior, unaware that their secret had been exposed. Risa arrived at Sam's house and revealed everything. Sam's mother was devastated, and everyone finally understood Tachai's sudden change in demeanor. Yada confronted Gina, accusing her of hurting her son when she had been hired to bear him a child. Sam quickly defended Gina, saying that he had relentlessly pursued her even after she repeatedly rejected him. Yada, heartbroken, asked why he would hurt his brother like that, reminding him how much Tachai loved him. She lamented, "Now you know, the two people he loved most betrayed him. Did you ever think about how much pain Tachai would be in? Did any of you ever think?" After her outburst, Yada prepared to visit Tachai at the company. Sam, afraid the situation would escalate, convinced his mother to let him go alone. Risa, eavesdropping on Sam and his mother, learned about Tachai's ex-boyfriend, What would she do with this new information? Tachai was the warmest, kindest, gay older brother one could imagine. Even though he had entered into a marriage of convenience, he never pressured Gina. After discovering his wife and brother were in love, he didn't expose them, choosing instead to bear the pain alone. Sam and Gina, filled with guilt, went to explain everything to Tachai. Gina clarified that they had broken up before her marriage, not because of it. Sam chimed in, claiming he no longer loved Gina. Tachai stopped him, saying, "Don't lie, Sam. Don't treat me like a fool. I love you, and I trusted you, but you let me be the last to know." Instead of exploding in anger, as expected, Tachai said sadly, "I was taught to be a good person, but because of this marriage, I've hurt the brother I love the most." It turned out Tachai's sadness wasn't because of their relationship, but because he felt responsible for ruining Sam's happiness. Where could you find such a good brother? Tachai didn't want them to suffer because of him any longer. He decided to tell his mother the truth and set Gina free, even though it meant losing everything. Sam tried to stop him, but Tachai punched him in the face, saying, "You can hit me, yell at me, do whatever you want to me." But Sam didn't want him to do this, reminding him of his responsibilities to their family and the company their father had built. He also had a responsibility, which was to take care of his older brother. All three of them cared deeply for each other, but they didn't know how to resolve the situation without hurting the ones they loved. Risa thought that with the secret revealed, she could get back together with Sam. However, her actions had made him resent her deeply. He didn't want to see her anymore. Risa's scheming had backfired spectacularly. Gina went to Tachai and told him that she didn't want to leave. She wanted to have a child with him and help him carry on the family legacy. Tachai refused, but Gina insisted, saying she would leave after the baby was born and wouldn't interfere with his and Sam's relationship. Sam, having made up his mind, supported Gina's decision. He then confessed his feelings, promising to feel the same way about her in the future, and that he would wait for her. This seemed like the best solution for all three of them. But life is unpredictable. Just as one storm calmed, another brewed. Risa, upset, went to a bar to drown her sorrows and unexpectedly ran into Chun. They ended up having sex in his car. Afterward, Risa made a deal with Chun, offering to tell him the truth about Tachai being gay in exchange for something. Chun was thrilled, finally having found Tachai's weakness. Meanwhile, Tachai's family was happily chatting with his grandmother, unaware of the impending storm. To give his brother a chance at happiness, Tachai made a deal with Gina. They would separate after the artificial insemination. This seemingly perfect solution would, however, bring trouble for all three of them. Without the burden of secrecy, Sam and Gina rekindled their romance, behaving like a couple again. Meanwhile, Chun, knowing Tachai was gay, deliberately arranged for Tachai and his ex-boyfriend to be alone together, even orchestrating physical contact between them. Sam, seeing this, rushed to separate them and tried to pull Tachai away, but his brother coldly refused. As they argued, the hospital called with the news that Tachai was infertile, meaning their plan wouldn't work. Heartbroken, Tachai sought comfort from his ex-boyfriend. Long separated, their reunion was passionate, and they had sexual intercourse. Unfortunately, their intimate moment was recorded. Disaster struck. The next day, during a company meeting, the video of Tachai and his ex-boyfriend was projected onto a large screen. Everyone was shocked. Tachai's grandmother fainted from the shock, and Tachai was thrown into the center of a scandal. Chun seized the opportunity, declaring that Tachai had brought shame to the entire company and demanding his resignation as chairman. As Chun's insults escalated, Sam slammed him against the wall. Tachai, utterly defeated, chose to leave. Sam reminded him of their father's teachings, that they should never abandon each other, no matter what happened. Comforted by his brother's words, Tachai felt a little better. He then went to the hospital and sincerely apologized to his grandmother. Afterward, as the brothers prepared to go home, they were ambushed by reporters. To protect Tachai, Sam told him to leave while he stayed to deal with the press. They finally escaped the reporters, but Tachai was nowhere to be found. Sam drove Gina around, searching everywhere, calling Tachai dozens of times, but he didn't answer. After exhausting all other options, they decided to check the resort where they had stayed before. This time, when Sam called, they finally heard the phone ringing and followed the sound. The video of Tachai and his ex-boyfriend was playing on a large screen at the resort. Deeply affected by the scandal, Tachai had gone there to find some peace. But when Sam and Gina arrived, they found only his lifeless body. Sam held his brother's body, crying in despair. Just then, his mother called, asking, "Sam, why is it taking so long? Have you found Tachai?" Tachai's sudden death plunged the family into despair. Yada, distraught, blamed Gina for not taking better care of her son. Everyone was consumed by grief. They had not only lost a loving husband, a good brother, and a devoted son, but also their emotional anchor. While everyone assumed Tachai had committed suicide due to the scandal, the autopsy revealed it was murder. Sam quickly suspected Chun, who had always been after the family fortune. However, the investigation yielded no evidence against Chun. Even though Sam was certain he was the culprit, he snuck into Chun's room while he was out and obtained a DNA sample. But the results showed that Chun wasn't the murderer. With the killer still at large, Yada fell into a deep depression. Just when everyone was at a dead end, the police found a hotel keycard at the crime scene. Gina immediately recognized it as Tachai's, but then she found an identical keycard back at the house. Following the lead, they went to the hotel but couldn't get in without a warrant. They had to find another way. Then they received a crucial piece of information. Tachai's last phone call was to his ex-boyfriend, Chen, but the call log had been deleted. Meanwhile, Chen secretly visited Tachai's memorial altar to repent. It turned out that after their video was leaked, Chen faced backlash from thousands of fans and a lawsuit from his agency. He blamed Tachai for everything and demanded that Tachai publicly deny being the person in the video. This demand made Tachai see Chen's true colors. They argued, and during the fight, Tachai tried to call for help, but Chen strangled him. The truth was finally revealed. Sam and Gina, exhausted from a long day, returned home. Gina planned to leave after Tachai's funeral. Sam begged her to stay, explaining that she couldn't be near his mother anymore, and that she had no reason to stay. Her presence only caused more chaos. Sam confessed, "I've already lost the brother I loved most. If you leave too, what am I supposed to do?" Gina was heartbroken, unsure how to face the family. Was their love story truly over? Chun was truly despicable. To avoid divorcing Wadey, he imprisoned her in their home and had his mother guard her. Seeing the woman he loved tormented, Sarut devised a plan. He drugged Warang's drink. Once she was asleep, he stole the key and prepared to take Wadey to see a lawyer. However, just as they were leaving, Chun returned. He refused to let Wadey go and dragged her back. To protect her, Sarut pretended to help Chun while secretly stalling for time. Finally, the police arrived, and Wadey seized the opportunity to escape. Chun shamelessly claimed it was a private family matter, but after the lawyer presented evidence of his abuse, he could only watch helplessly as Wadey left. Seeing Wadey finally free from her living hell, Sarut felt a wave of relief, but he had put himself in danger. Chun suspected him of orchestrating Wadey's escape and began investigating the phone records of all the house staff, but found nothing. Then, a stroke of genius led Chun to suspect his own bodyguard, Sarut. He declared, "I've checked everyone's phone in this house. You're the only one left." He demanded Sarut's phone, but after checking it, he found nothing suspicious. Sarut had anticipated this and had cleverly switched phones. Just when he thought he was in the clear, a call came through that aroused Chun's suspicion. Chun immediately called the number back. Sarut panicked, knowing it was the lawyer on the other end. Luckily, the lawyer's phone suddenly died, saving Sarut from being exposed. The next day, Wadey went to court, but she suddenly felt dizzy and fainted. At the hospital, she discovered she was 5 weeks pregnant. Warang was overjoyed, seeing the hope of an heir to the family fortune. However, Chun was furious when he heard the news and slapped Wadey, accusing her of having an affair. Why was he the only one allowed to fool around? To get his hands on the family fortune, Chun shamelessly claimed Wadey's unborn child as his own. She of course refused, but the baby was Chun's only hope, and also proof of Wadey's supposed infidelity. Therefore, Wadey couldn't get a divorce. Having no other choice, she agreed to Chun's terms. As night fell, Sarut took Wadey to the garden and urged her to run away to escape her torment. But Wadey knew that no matter where she went, she would be brought back. There was no escape. Seeing the woman he loved trapped in this cycle of misery, Sarut felt helpless and regretful. Now, every decision they made had to be carefully considered, not just for themselves, but for the child as well. "I'm sorry, baby," Wadey whispered to her unborn child. They didn't know that the road ahead would be even more difficult. Sam returned home after a long day to find Gina waiting for him on the sofa. After much deliberation, She had finally decided to stay with him through these difficult times. Wanting to lift his spirits, Sam said he was hungry, so Gina went to the kitchen and prepared a delicious meal for him. They laughed and talked together, like a normal couple, but the reality was harsh. When Sam went to work the next day, he found his belongings moved out of his office. Chun, arrogant and triumphant, announced that he was fired, and there was nothing Sam could do about it. Sam ignored him and retrieved his belongings. But Chun wasn't finished. He wanted Sam gone, stating that Sam had a responsibility to protect the company and stop it from falling into the hands of a scoundrel like him. Chun sneered. You couldn't even protect your own brother. What makes you think a nobody like you can do anything? However, Sam refused to leave. Chun called everyone together and declared himself the chairman. Sam knew that even with his fighting skills, he couldn't win back the company with fists. He looked at the company he and his brother had worked so hard for, his eyes filled with longing. Returning to his office, Sam looked at a picture of his brother and wept. He had always considered himself capable, believing he could protect his brother and their father's legacy. But now he realized he had failed to protect anything, and he had nothing left. Just as he was at his lowest point, Gina called, comforting him and reassuring him that he was strong, and promising to stand by him until the end. She joked, "You want to help me, right? Then recharge my positive energy." Renewed with hope, Sam decided to find the person who had killed his brother first. Chen was hiding at his wealthy lover's house, believing himself safe. But his lover, after learning he was the murderer, secretly called the police. However, she was knocked unconscious by Chen. Just as he was about to attack his lover, Sam arrived and saved her. Chen tried to escape, but a furious Sam, armed with a golf club, chased him down and beat him severely. If the police hadn't arrived on time, Chen likely wouldn't have survived. With the murderer finally arrested, the family was relieved. Sam took Gina to the beach to relax. They talked and laughed, sharing their stories like a newlywed couple. Sam asked Gina if she would stay. Gina looked into his eyes and said, "You know I don't want to leave. But if I stay, it won't be good for your mother in the long run." Taking his hand, she gently said, "When the time is right, we can be together and enjoy our time." They walked along the beach, wishing time would stand still. On the anniversary of Tachai's death, Chun's family came to pay their respects. Afterward, Warang began to taunt Yada. But Yada no longer cared about the family fortune. She just wanted to live peacefully with her remaining son. But Chun wasn't done. He informed Yada that he had fired Sam. This was the final straw for Yada, who had just lost one son, and now her other son was being bullied. She collapsed. Sam and Gina rushed to her side and helped her leave. Not wanting to cause Yada any more pain, Gina decided to move out. Sam felt terrible seeing Gina move to such a modest place. She reassured him, "I'm not going anywhere. I've talked to Aunt Dim. I'll come and take care of your mother every day, in secret." Later they talked on the phone, encouraging each other. Gina said, "Stay strong. I won't leave you alone. I'll be by your side, fighting with you." After settling Gina in, Sam went to the hospital to visit his mother. Despite his tough exterior, he broke down in tears at her bedside. As he wept, his mother suddenly woke up. The doctor said she could be discharged soon. Another weight was lifted from Sam's shoulders. Although Gina had moved out, she secretly returned to care for Yada, who continued to treat her coldly. Upset, Gina sat on a swing. Sam, wanting to cheer her up, comforted her, saying, "But if you look closely, you can see me. No matter where you are, I'll be there." Gina blushed and turned away. But they weren't done being affectionate, continuing to flirt with each other. The romantic atmosphere was palpable. They were truly a couple in love. Risa's father, facing bankruptcy, was about to commit suicide when Risa stopped him, assuring him she had a solution. She then called Chun, but he unexpectedly backed out of their deal. So Risa went to the parking lot to intercept him, but Chun, changing his tune, coldly dismissed her. Just then, Sam arrived and defended Risa. Seeing her ex-boyfriend's kindness, Risa felt a pang of guilt. Despite all the terrible things she had done, Sam was still willing to help her. Ashamed and unable to face him, she decided to take revenge on Chun. She went to the hospital, stole a nurse's uniform, and disguised herself as a nurse attending to Wadey, planning to use Wadey's unborn child to get back at him. Sarut, arriving at the hospital, sensed something was wrong and immediately called Wadey, but it was too late. Risa grabbed the phone and pushed Wadey down the stairs. At that very moment, Chun appeared and caught Wadey. He knew Risa was behind this. That night, the two met in a warehouse. To protect his unborn child and his secret, Chun agreed to Risa's demands and gave her 50 million. He thought that would be the end of it, but Risa said, "In addition to the 50 million, I also demand 1 million in living expenses every month." She continued, "Consider it the price of my silence about you filming the video that led to Tachai's death. If you don't agree, the whole company will know." Seeing Risa's escalating demands, Chun decided to attack her, but she pulled out a gun. Chun pretended to be afraid, then tried to disarm her when she wasn't looking. However, Risa was skilled in combat. After dodging Chun's attack, she kicked him to the ground. Seeing that he was still resisting, Risa fired a warning shot. Watching this scene was truly satisfying. To regain control of the company, Sam asked his grandmother for help. As the founder, she knew each member of the board of directors intimately. With her help, Sam learned their weaknesses. Then, under Sam's threats, the board members began to waver in their support of Chun. Chun, believing he had absolute power, proposed opening a gaming company during a board meeting, only to be met with unexpected opposition. Furious, he accused Sam of influencing them, boasting, "You see? I'm all alone. What can you possibly do to me?" However, by threatening their interests, he had made a powerful enemy. Chun went to the boss behind the scenes, Lakorn, and explained everything. Lakorn decided to deal with this troublesome obstacle. Not surprisingly, disaster struck. While Sam and his best friend were driving, discussing their next move, a car suddenly swerved towards them, and a steel pipe flew out. Luckily, they dodged it just in time. The driver got out and pretended to apologize, but a scar on his hand made Sam suspicious. Despite his busy schedule, Sam couldn't resist seeing Gina. Learning that she was going to his house the next day to make chocolates, Sam made up an excuse to take her out. Initially rejected, Sam persisted, becoming shamelessly flirtatious. They went to the supermarket, and Sam turned on the charm, showering Gina with compliments that made her blush. After shopping, they were caught in the rain. Sam, turning into the perfect gentleman, took Gina's bags and offered her his jacket. Gina, naturally, didn't want him to get wet. They were about to share a sweet moment. She said, "Bend down. You're too tall." "Bend down," he repeated playfully. 1, 2, 3. He gently placed his jacket over her head. After their sweet moment, they got into the car, still wrapped up in their love, oblivious to the impending danger. Suddenly, Sam lost control of the car. A sharp turn sent them crashing into a guardrail. Two strangers appeared, claiming to be mechanics. Sam, noticing a scar on one of their hands, recognized him as one of the men who had attacked him earlier that day. He quickly pulled Gina away, but the mechanic grabbed her. Sam knocked him down and fought off both men. After a final impressive kick, Sam yelled, "Gina, run! Get help!" Gina ran, calling the police, and then went to a nearby house, banging on the door and screaming for help. But no one answered. Just as she was about to give up, she heard a gunshot. Frozen in fear, she ran back toward Sam. When Gina returned to the scene, no one was there. A moment later, Sam stumbled out. They embraced tightly, afraid to let go. Sam called the police, suspecting the attackers were the same men who had targeted him earlier. Gina, shaken and furious, said, "You know, I heard a gunshot. I was terrified. What would I do if something happened to you?" She hit him repeatedly, accidentally striking his wound. Panicked, she fetched the first aid kit to treat his wound. The following scene was quite funny to watch. She said, "This is alcohol," dabbing at his wound. He exclaimed, "Ouch! Wait, you'll tear my wound." "But it hurts. Just a little bit more." "No, it hurts a lot. Just a little." "Ouch!" Seeing her unwavering concern, Sam couldn't resist any longer. Just as they were about to kiss, the police called. After reviewing the security footage, Sam realized he was being targeted. But even that danger couldn't dampen his love for Gina. While she was making porridge, he teased her, whispering suggestive comments that made her blush. As they were about to take things further, Sam's mother unexpectedly arrived. To hide Gina's presence, he quickly pushed her down, knowing his mother still held prejudiced views against her. Meanwhile, the police finally caught the men who attacked Sam. However, after only half an hour of interrogation, they were ordered to release them. Lakorn had intervened and bailed them out. He taunted Sam, saying, A kid like you trying to take me down? You're not even worth my time, Sam retorted. Someday a kid like me will put you behind bars. Learning that Korn was behind this, Sam was figuring out how to deal with him when he received devastating news. Risa was dead. He and Gina rushed to her house to investigate. Risa's father hesitated but finally revealed the truth. She had been involved in a dangerous game with a wealthy man, seeking wealth and status at any cost. As she was about to leave with a gun, Chun appeared and tried to take it from her. During the struggle, the gun went off, killing Risa. To destroy the evidence, Chun put her body in a bag, drove to a bridge, and threw her into the river. But secrets rarely stay buried. A panicked Chun returned home, where Sarut saw him, sensing something was terribly wrong. Sarut went to Wadey and told her that Chun wasn't a good person, urging her to run away. He said, "Chun is a murderer. I don't want you and your child to be with him. You have to leave." Wadey worried. "No matter what, he'll find us." Sarut reassured her, "I'll take you somewhere safe." The next day, news of Risa's murder was on TV. Chun panicked. Wadey realized that Risa and Chun had been having an affair. "You and she had a relationship, didn't you? If I remember correctly, about 5 days ago?" Seeing Wadey about to expose him as the murderer, Chun slapped her. Sarut, protecting Wadey, stepped in front of her. This only enraged Chun further, who accused Sarut of being overly concerned for his wife. Sarut calmly explained that Wadey was pregnant, and harming her wouldn't benefit Chun in any way. Realizing he couldn't hide the truth any longer, Chun called Korn for help. Korn immediately demanded 30 million. Desperate to avoid prison, Chun agreed. Meanwhile, Sarut and Wadey planned their escape. At dinner, Wadey pretended to feel unwell, then secretly took the 50 million and left with Sarut. When Chun went to get the money for Korn, he discovered it was gone. Furious, he called Wadey, but she didn't answer. Then, he remembered he had placed a tracking device in her bag. He checked the location and found her at a hotel. Thinking he had figured it out, he called Sarut and asked if he had taken Wadey to the hospital. Sarut, unaware that he had been discovered, lied and said Wadey was undergoing a checkup. Chun's face twisted in rage. He yelled, "Sarut, you traitor!" Chun, now consumed by rage, drove at breakneck speed towards the hotel. Sam and the police officer witnessed this and decided to follow. Meanwhile, Sarut and Wadey had successfully checked into the hotel and were preparing for their new life together. Sarut said, "I never thought we would see this day. No matter what we face tomorrow, I will do everything in my power to protect you and our child." But a moment later, there was a knock at the door. As soon as Sarut opened it, Chun pushed him to the floor. Sam, who had followed them, secretly watched from outside. "The baby in Wadey's belly, it's yours, isn't it?" Chun roared. Sarut admitted, "Yes, it is." Chun, completely losing his mind, started beating Sarut relentlessly. Wadey rushed to stop him, but Chun shoved her aside. Fearing that Wadey would get hurt, Sarut stepped in front of her to protect her, but this only fueled Chun's rage even more. He screamed, "I was such an idiot. I kept wondering who your lover was, and it was Sarut, the person I trusted the most. How could you betray me like this?" Chun's anger escalated as he shouted, "I treated you like my own brother, and you stabbed me in the back. You slept with my wife." Sarut, still holding on to some lingering loyalty, didn't fight back and instead bowed his head, apologizing profusely. He said, "For the past 20 years, I've followed every order you gave me, whether it was to hurt someone, insult someone, or do something wrong. I did it all for you." Chun was unrelenting. "You helped me do all those terrible things." Sarut retorted, "I won't obey you anymore. You can't even do those bad things properly yourself." At this point, Chun completely lost control. He slammed Sarut against the wall and then started choking Wadey, intending to kill them both and himself. To protect Wadey, Sarut abandoned his loyalty to Chun and tackled him, yelling at Wadey to run. Then, he hit Chun over the head with a vase and escaped with Wadey. Sam and the police officer took them to a safe place. After some hesitation, Sarut decided to reveal all of Chun's secrets to Sam to protect Wadey and her child. Chun, having lost everything, returned home and started smashing things in a fit of rage. However, his outburst couldn't change his fate. Meanwhile, Gina continued to visit Sam's house as usual, and Yada was finally touched by Gina's patience and devotion. She no longer held any prejudice against her. Thanks to Sarut, Sam learned that Korn was the mastermind behind everything. To obtain incriminating evidence against Chun and Korn, Sam decided to take a risk, disguising himself as a spy to infiltrate their organization. Before embarking on this dangerous mission, he took Gina to a temple to pray. They shared a tender moment, with Sam confessing, "I love you so much." Gina playfully teased him, saying, "I'll tell you that every day from now on." They both knew that this mission was perilous. Sam and the police officer worked together, preparing to infiltrate the criminal organization. However, the officer's superiors ordered him to stand down. Eager to seize this opportunity, Sam decided to proceed with the plan anyway, taking only one associate with him to the casino. To create a distraction, his associate started a fight, allowing Sam to sneak in. Using the information Sarut had provided, he successfully accessed Korn's computer, plugged in a USB drive, and began copying evidence of Korn and Chun's crimes. Just then, the gangsters slowly approached while the data was still copying. To avoid being discovered, Sam quickly turned off the monitor and hid in the closet. Chun and Korn entered the room and began arguing about money, and Sam secretly recorded their conversation. Suddenly, Korn noticed the USB drive plugged into the computer. Seeing the data transfer in progress, he realized someone had infiltrated his office and slowly approached the closet with his gun. Just as he was about to open it, Sam burst out and ran down the stairs. The three men engaged in a chase, and Sam was eventually cornered at an abandoned construction site. As he fought them off, Korn arrived with his men and surrounded him. Trapped, Sam raised his hands in surrender. Just as he thought he was done for, Sarut dramatically appeared. Sam grabbed Korn and held him hostage. After exchanging a look, they pushed Korn away and kicked a gas canister towards the gangsters. Several explosions followed, and gas filled the air. Sam and Sarut ran in different directions. Meanwhile, Gina felt a sense of unease, as if something terrible was about to happen. Then, disaster struck. She heard an explosion and learned that Sam had disappeared. Just as she arrived home, she saw the news on TV. Devastated, she sobbed uncontrollably. They had only been together for a short time, and now they were separated. To prevent Yada from finding out, she immediately called the maid at Sam's house. But before she could say much, a mysterious person grabbed her and covered her mouth, kidnapping her. Sarut returned safely, but Sam's apparent death extinguished their remaining hope. Gina woke up to find it was already afternoon. As she was about to escape, she heard a knock at the door. She quickly hid, and the door opened. It was Sam. Seeing him alive, Gina rushed to embrace him, and he comforted her. Sam had escaped from the car before it exploded, narrowly avoiding death. But Gina was still terrified, saying, "I saw the news. I thought I'd never see you again. I was so scared." At that moment, words weren't enough. They kissed passionately. After facing death together, they finally broke down their last defenses and perfected their love. Meanwhile, after finally receiving permission from his superiors, Oak and his team arrested Korn's men. Korn, with nowhere left to run, went to Chun, demanding he help him escape. Chun, already in hot water, retorted, "I can barely save myself." During their argument, Korn held Chun at gunpoint. Chun feigned compliance, then pulled out his own gun and shot Korn. To avoid any further involvement, he didn't hesitate to kill Korn. On the day of Tachai's cremation, everyone from the company attended. Chun was shocked to see Yada appear, healthy and alert. Just as he was wondering why Gina hadn't told Yada anything, another figure appeared, Sam. He had returned. Chun was terrified. With everyone watching, Sam exposed Chun's crimes. Chun, believing he had destroyed all the evidence, brazenly denied everything. Just then, Sarut arrived. Chun yelled, "Sarut, you traitor! You slept with my wife, and you dare show your face here." Sarut calmly replied, "Chun, you are the traitor." The truth was revealed, and the police arrived to arrest Chun. Just when everyone thought it was over, Chun grabbed a police officer's gun and took Gina hostage. He yelled, "You dared to betray me! I have nothing left to lose." He was truly the most tragic character. Having just escaped death, he was now shot by his cousin. Despite the desperate pleas of his brother and the woman he loved, Sam couldn't find the strength to get up. He slowly closed his eyes and was rushed to the emergency room. The doctors worked tirelessly to save him, but the situation was critical. Sam remained in a coma. Gina sat by his bedside, holding his hand, crying and singing their song, then whispering the love she had kept hidden in her heart. She said, "I couldn't wait for you that day, but today, I will wait. I'll wait until you wake up to tease me, laugh with me, and smile at me." As Gina listened to Sam's heartbeat, it suddenly began to slow. The doctors rushed in for a last-ditch effort to save him. The curtain was drawn, and Gina broke down, fearing she had lost the man she loved most. The doctors worked tirelessly. Meanwhile, in his coma, Sam saw his beloved brother Tachai. Sam said, "I miss you so much." Tachai urged him, "You need to go back. Gina is waiting for you. Go back to her and live your life." Sam awoke from his coma. "He's safe. He's okay." Gina cried. "Thank you. Thank you, doctor." She felt Tachai's presence beside her and whispered, "Thank you, Tachai. Thank you." Gina finally received Yada and Sam's mother's blessings, and she and Sam could finally be together. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos.